How you doing, everybody? It's been a little while, so I just thought I'd make a little different kind of video, kind of what's been going on, where I've been, all that fun jazz, right? So, as many of you guys know that if you have watched this, I started my little YouTube channel thing when I was getting off kratom. There's a couple reasons why I did that. One, I was sick of being a slave to everything. I was sick of feeling just absolutely terrible. You know, it made me feel great, but it also, once you take it for a long time, from my personal experience, I've heard and I read everyone's comments. Everyone has different experiences, but for me, after years of taking it, it was just a lot more issues than it was worth. Right. So, still a lot of pain, but it's just something I kind of deal with now. I do a lot of different things. Start taking more natural medicines, eating liver. Stretching has been a game changer for me. It doesn't help with nerve damage or anything, but it definitely helps when it comes to those kind of things like that. With that being said, when I first made this, my very first video, I was still a professional chef. And since that, it's been years, I have gone off that path, and then I started in the welding career. And it has been a very rewarding welding career. And as of recently, I have joined the Bowl Makers Union. And I'm very excited and very happy for that. I worked my butt off to get there, and now here we are. So, with that being said, I did about 2 years in fabrication, different shops. It's been about 2 years. And I've done a lot of different kinds of stuff, from TIG to stick to MIG. And I just kind of want to go over a couple of these hoods that I have and just kind of give like a more review on what's good. If you guys think about welding and my personal opinions on certain things like that. Because when I first started school, of course, I didn't have any money, didn't know what to expect, didn't know what was good or bad or what was going on. So the first hood I ever got was this Hobart Inventor. Sorry, it's kind of right out. It's just, I got it from down here at Rural King. I think it was like 60, 70 bucks. I mean, it's your basic auto darkening hood. It's okay. If you're starting out, this is a good hood, or if you're like hobby welder or something like that, that's a good hood. I mean, it has kind of a big viewing area, as now that I'm in a different career, the smaller the better. It has, you got your basic shade, sensitivity, delayed. It's got a grind mode on the inside of it, right there. Everything's backwards. I do apologize. So that's kind of cool, up and down. I personally have not used this hood in probably like a year and a half. I quickly outgrew this hood because I've realized there's better options out there. But that's good if you're just in the garage, just kind of getting something. I wouldn't say it's a bad hood by any means, but there's a lot better hoods. Headgear isn't that great. The viewing, the lens to me isn't that great because now that I've progressed in here. But if you never picked up welding, you go pick up one of those and be just fine. The second hood I have that I bought, that I don't actually have here because it's at my shop right now, but it's the ESAB A50. And that was it's a really good hood for very specific things like TIGging. That's a phenomenal hood. They got the A60 out now, which is even clearer with a 2.0 lens, everything like that. I mean, I've used that to stick MIG in TIG, and I think it shines in TIG. The bad part is the whole ESAB front of the hood is like, it is its screen right here. So that is very bad. When I was learning, I was getting very close to my welds, and the front screen is not very heat resistant, so it was warping a lot. So I went through a lot of hoods. I think there's a lot of better options out there. Like now in the Bowl Makers, I would never ever use that for stick welding, pipe welding, tube welding. I wouldn't do any of that with that hood. Everyone's different. The pros to it is super light, and they have a grind button on the outside, which I absolutely like, you know, especially when you're out there and you got a lot of stuff to do and you have a busy day. Because I'll tell you what, when you got to stop, take your hood off, switch it over to grind mode, which I'm about to tell you about this other hood, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But it was really good on my neck. After doing this for a few years, I don't do the whole thing anymore, or should I say as least as possible, because it does hurt my neck, and especially when you're out there all day and you can't really take your hood off because you're just doing all these sorts of projects. It's just something to look into. I guess everyone's different. You know, my father-in-law, he was a welder for about 30 years, and he had to actually get neck surgery on his, right here on his neck, on his vertebrae. And they said it's because of the years of just knocking it down stuff. I personally will just grab my hood down and weld like that. But I don't have the ESAB here, but if y'all want to check it out, it's easy to find. The new A60 came out, and apparently that's a really good hood. Again, for certain things. Now that I'm not MIGing anymore, which primarily what I did flux core and also hardwire. I wouldn't do that, and that brings me to my next hood. So I bought this at my first job because we were able to buy straight from wholesale, from Holston Gas. It is a Miller Infinity series. This is a fantastic hood, okay? It's got the 2.0 lens, very clear, such a great hood. I definitely enjoy it. I'm not a big fan of going from ESAB. It had, you know, some of that old stuff, the different display systems and stuff like that. This one, it's not bad. Say it's not great, it's not bad. It's kind of whatever, you know what I mean? It's your basic up and down. You can switch your modes right there. You know, you got settings, stuff like that. You know, your basic stuff. Nothing crazy. But the thing I really liked about this hood is that, one, it's a giant viewing area, like absolutely giant. And with this one, it is crystal clear, which absolutely blew my mind, because if we go back to this guy or the ESAB, they had a clear lens, but they also had like an amber lens. But even when I had that hood down, it was kind of hard to see if you're not in very well lit areas. Okay, and another thing about the ESAB and also this, if you're welding outside, it'll be kind of tricky because these sensors are pretty dang good. They got 4 sensors on each, so you know, being out in the sun will definitely throw you off. But with this guy, it's got an X mode, which means that they have a mode that you can put in. It's on the display setting that you could be outside and weld, and it won't pick up the sun. And that is great because I've had to do a few projects outside, and boy, oh boy, I'll tell you, when you're out there and you're constantly trying to weld and it's just flickering on and off and on and off and on and off, it gets frustrating. But this is a good hood. This is very expensive. It was like $500-600, I think it was. I think it actually came out to be $500. After taxes, we got kind of like the wholesale discount, which is still insane. This thing is great for stick, MIG, TIG, everything like that. But for me, I would not use this in the Union, you know, because you're in very tight spaces, and this thing is a behemoth. Okay, when it comes to it. And also, I don't like how far out this thing sticks. I'll show you. So as you can see, it goes down. Got my whole ear is exposed, right? With the ESAB, I forgot to say, it basically goes back here, so it covers your ear. I always wear a welding cap. I don't have any hair, obviously, but if you caught a hot BB in your ear, you will understand. Like, it is not fun. Another bad thing about this thing is freaking heavy, man. This thing is the reason why I got into the next hoods I'm about to get onto, because this thing is freaking heavy. When I first put it on from wearing my Hobart, my ESAB, I was like, golly, man, what is this tank? But, you know, it's good. If I was like had a shop and I was fabricating, you know, doing some hobby welding or doing smaller projects, this thing is great. TIGging, I would wear this thing all day. because this thing is absolutely fantastic, and it's, it's great. But if I had to be on the field like what I'm in now, definitely not, because this thing's heavy, it's bulky, it's huge. Great visibility, but again, that kind of being a bowl maker in tight areas with a lot of light going on. So this thing catches a lot of light, even with the sensitivity really low. It'll still catch everything around you. So that's gonna be a no-go for me, for what I got going on now. Okay, let's see. I bought this from one of my buddies. It is an Outlaw Leather hood, Obviously, it's used to all hell, so I bought it for the cheap. Has a flip-up lens, which I definitely enjoy, because when you're in there and you're getting it, taking your hood off and doing all that, and sometimes it's tight spaces, so you're kind of in awkward areas. So being able to flip this up and grind and do whatever you got to do was great. The fixed lenses in here are really good with stick welding, stuff like that, even TIGging. But again, if you don't know what a fixed lens is, it's just constantly dark. So you kind of gotta get in position where you want to weld and flip that bad boy down and hope for the best. So when I took my weld test, actually, I used this and I flunked my first one because, well, first I started with this. I was doing practices with this bad boy, and I was like, this is way too hot, this is way too heavy, and I couldn't see. Oh, and that's another thing. With how big and bulky this is, you get so much backlight that it is really hard to see what you're doing. And the one thing about welding I learned is, learn how to weld with both hands. Learn how to weld uncomfortable, because when you get comfortable, it's good, but you got to learn how to weld uncomfortable. And I am 6'1", 250 pounds, and we were doing 6G, which that means the pipe is like this. And, I had to get underneath there and get it in. But with this hood, it was really hard to see a lot of the times what I was doing. Starting at the bottom was all right, but once I would get around the side, there'd be so much back glare. I kind of lost it, and it got kind of ugly. And if you can't stack your beads right, you're gonna flunk. I didn't even pass the visual, the first test. So that was kind of a bummer. But I bought this for my buddy. This thing is great, but he definitely used it to all hell. Like, this back area broken, this thing, the side pieces that hold it actually up on my head, not good. I mean, again, it's definitely used, but I could sit here and roll this like this. This isn't Outlaw Leather's fault, by the way. Outlaw Leathers have great, fantastic hoods, but this thing will not stay up. The littlest motion just brings it down. But I will say these are good hoods. In the future, I want to buy one, like a brand new one, just so I could get it from the get-go. Because another thing I had, as you notice, I have a beard. This thing's good for covering it, but also it's kind of bad because this leather's super worn, and my buddy didn't condition it or take care of it or anything, so it's super stiff, right? So I'll be like moving, going up, and sometimes this thing would just get caught on my shirt or something like that, because it'd be hanging off. And I don't have like a super straight hand, surgeon's hand, so I need every damn help I can get. So that, not Outlaw Leather's fault, but that's just something that I've observed, because this is actually the test that made me flunk. Well, not really made me flunk, but this one I flunked in, this one I passed in. My tube test to get into the union, right? So the things I like about it, you got the nice leather, it does get kind of hot. You got the flip up, which I had to cut a little bit down because I wanted to put in like an auto lens, and I'll get to that in a second. But you got fixed lenses, you got a lens on the outside on both layers, and it's got like a little spring in there to keep it held up, which is super smart. These guys know what they're doing. This is a great hood. Honestly, if I could condition this leather and get this new, I am going to need some new headgear. This is trash. This would be a very usable, great hood. It still is, but to my standards. And another great thing I like about it is this leather piece right here. It goes in pretty deep, so which is good because again, visibility. If you can't see what you're welding, you're not going to weld good. So with that being said, with this in, I barely got any, and I mean any, backlight at all, because your eyes are right there. So that is fantastic. I do love that. The best hoods for, you know, visibility is Pancakes, but I'm not a big fan of them. I think they're ugly as shit, and who knows, maybe I'll get one day if I'm on that kind of profession, but I'm just not a big fan of them myself. But that's, you know, my personal preference. Outlaw leather hoods, buy one. These things are fantastic. Again, get one brand new. They got different stiffness to leather. You could call. They can customize whatever you want. You know what I mean? I've seen dudes with minions, you know, straight. You could put your state flag on there, Tennessee. You could put a big old American flag. They have so many different options. It's unreal. And that brings me up to my next one. Also from Outlaw Leathers. This is my most recent one. This bad boy right here. It is a chopped sugar scoop, is what we call them, with some leather. I bought this bad boy on sale for like 90 bucks, I think it was, very recently. I've used this thing for 2 weeks, and I absolutely love this thing. Got good headgear right out the rip, got good headband, you know. I'll probably replace these because these things always suck on pretty much all of them. They have a lot of excuse me, they have a lot of aftermarket parts to them, which is great. And again, how to do it, the flip up, which is great. And this thing fits great. It's very adjustable. That was another thing. I didn't really adjust this bad boy right here, so I was kind of like, it wasn't looking straight. It was kind of looking up or down, you know, because again, the headgear was kind of broken. So, but this thing got it dialed in. There's that little gap right there, but once I put on my welder cap, it's all good. It completely fills the gap, good to go. And if I wanted to, I could bring it in more. It's just been a very hot and humid fall out here in East Tennessee. So yeah, I kind of brought it out more because I was fogging up my safety glasses I was wearing underneath. So this thing is absolutely great. It is chopped, as you can see, with my big beard, kind of hangs out a little bit. But if I'm doing like those big jobs, I usually wear like those gaiters, just so I'm just completely protected. It's hot. I don't like the heat. I don't know why I chose this career, but it's very worth it to me. Financially, it's very good. I get to go a lot of places. The one thing about the bull makers and the union in general, when you work, it's time to work. We go in, we'll grind 6'10", 6'12" sometimes, and that sounds miserable, but boy, oh boy, I'm wiping my tears away when I'm making, you know, $12 to $14, $15,000 a month. So can't beat that at all. This hood, fantastic. I recommend it. Oh, another thing, I got the snake belly lens, auto darkening. Let me tell you something about them. They are absolutely fantastic. It looks like red or amber on the outside, but it's a blue light, and I can see freaking everything, and that is great. But one thing that I do not like about the auto lens is that when it comes to TIG, I would say every foot of TIG that I lay down, I get 1 or 2 flashes, which does not seem a lot, but golly, when you're right on the pipe like that and these flashes, you're like, oh, it's not good. So auto darkening is not good for that. I have seen other companies make lenses that could pick it all up, but if I was a straight TIG job, I'd probably do straight auto darkening, or I would, you know, try those other lenses out. But don't get me wrong, these things are fantastic because I've been so used to auto darkening from day one that going to a fixed shade is kind of hard for me, you know. Obviously, if I just use fixed shade all the time, it would be a different story. So we'll see. Again, I'm not a professional. Well, I guess technically I'm kind of a professional welder, but I've not been welding long. With school and working, probably about 2.5 years. So, but I highly recommend this bad boy. I didn't like the full sugar scoop, so I never messed with them, but I saw a couple guys in the union rocking these, and I wanted to try them out, and they're good because, again, good visibility. That's the one thing. You got to see what you're welding. If you can't see what you're welding, forget it. You know, because my first pipe, the start and stops, they were a little janky, and I kept getting porosity because I was starting, and I realized I need to start way back and bring it in, but I was starting at such an angle because I couldn't see that I was just kept causing porosity and porosity and porosity. And my weld test, both of them, you can't use a grinder, so you get that porosity, you might as well say goodbye because it might pass a visual, but when it bends, golly, I mean, you just don't know. You just don't know. Porosities usually fail. You know, weakens the metal, everything like that. So what can you do? But I recommend this hood fully for any kind of work, mainly industrial work. And that comes to another thing. Snake belly. If you get those lenses, it comes in a nice freaking box, man. I'm very impressed because I keep all my extra lenses and stuff in here, and that's fantastic. I mean, and it's deep too. I got like 7 fixed lenses in here and an extra spring that goes in the inside there. I highly recommend. Snake belly's great. So, with all that being said, I just want to make a short little video on all these hoods, what exactly you should use, what exactly are you welding. You know, it all boils down to what you are doing for a living or for a hobby. You know, I've seen people that weld once a month that will go out and buy one of these hoods. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention too, this bad boy, this whole setup cost me, because it came with the headgear, everything, cost me $100. I think 90 or $100. I bought this lens from a buddy for 60. So not bad at all. Not bad at all. Compared to this thing, you know, is fantastic. Keeps all the light out, gets me going. You grind business. Where this thing's $500, right? And I gotta take it off, adjust it. You know, it's heavy. Your ears are exposed. So it just really all depends, you know. Me being a tube welder in the union, I'm only gonna do these bad boys from now on. They're great, they're lightweight, they are very reliable, they're very fantastic. So I put two hard weeks on this bad boy. And it hasn't failed me yet, except little flashes here and there, but that's really about it. So if you're a hobby welder, you know, save yourself some money. You know, get yourself a hood. If you do it professionally, that's really all up to you. Everyone has their personal preferences. I see most bowl makers, pipe fitters use these kind of hoods, the sugar scoops, and also the pancakes. Pancakes is just completely like basically goggles, so you're getting zero light penetration at all. Did the Digital Infinity from Miller, I say, is the clearest, best hood for fabricating, stuff like that, because you're able to see what's going on. It's got the X mode, it's got everything that you could possibly need with it. Hobart, you know, if you're just trying to get into it, man, that's a nice cheap hood. I think it was like $110. It's not bad. I mean, it's really not bad for what it is. Yeah, I've definitely seen worse for more, you know. So yeah, just get out there, weld. This is what I've been doing. Join the union, kicking ass, get money, doing what I can. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I really got. If you got any questions, anything like that, throw it down. Like I said, I'm not professional, but I'm busting tests and I'm getting tests. I'm certified in a bunch of different things when it comes to welding. So yeah, go out and get that money. Hope everyone's doing good. I appreciate the people that are still following or still watching or or anything like that, because I know my content's super mixed and it's super, I got people asking me all sorts of stuff, coming for all sorts of stuff. Once I actually get out there more, I'm going to try to record where I'm at and stuff like that. Because the good thing about bowl makers and the union in general, you're going all over the place, so you're gonna be seeing the country a little bit, which is great. So that's all I got. So until then, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Go Vols and go get that money. All right, I love y'all. I'm out.